Have you ever wondered if the tranquil, sun-dappled streets of Tamworth, New South Wales, hide the kind of stories that make for blockbuster crime dramas? Well, you're about to uncover a reality that's hard to believe and even harder to ignore. This is not fiction. This is the story of Tamworth, Australia's hidden underbelly, a central stage for corruption, unconscionable behavior, and unrelenting crimes spanning multiple industries, law enforcement, and even international borders. Let's begin with Mayor Colin Murray, the man who many hailed as a city leader, a visionary even. But what if I told you that he's at the center of a web so intricate it involves crimes on foreign turf, anti-competitive trade practices, and even intentional interference in business acquisitions, with devastating local and global consequences? In August 2017, during his visit to China, Mayor Murray didn't just promote Tamworth as a place of opportunity. Instead, allegation revealed that on Chinese soil, he orchestrated actions tantamount to criminal conspiracies. These actions circumvented fair trade laws, interfered in contracts, and caused potential investment opportunities valued in millions to collapse. This isn't the story of one rogue mayor, though. Oh no, it doesn't stop with him. Right behind Murray is Paul Bennett, General Manager of Tamworth Regional Council, a figure no less entangled in this sordid saga. Bennett allegedly sent intimidating correspondence to business counterparties, investors, and even participants in strategic industries like sports, pushing them out in deals that defied fair and transparent governance. The council itself, bound by public duty, is said to have cancelled contracts for public properties which were fairly awarded during a public expression of interest process. And what's worse, these multi-million-dollar public assets were allegedly given away for nothing, bypassing better offers that promised community-wide benefits. A case of fraud, mismanagement, and nepotism, all rolled into one. But perhaps the most shocking revelation about this local council's behavior. It's the systematic suppression of those who attempted to shed light on these activities. Public servants unwilling to toe the corrupt line were faced with unbearable pressure. Their careers, reputations, and even personal safety allegedly threatened by powerful figures who see the law not as a guide, but as an obstacle to circumvent. Your disbelief isn't unwarranted. After all, Tamworth, home to Australia's famous country music festival, seems so far removed from the dark undercurrent of corruption and crime. Yet the deeper you dig, the more the cracks reveal themselves. Take the case of fraudulent water license activities. Yes, corruption that affects something as fundamental as water. Reports value this racket upwards of $210 million. Not only were surface water licenses abused, but banks were also used to launder the proceeds of these criminal activities, extending their reach far beyond Tamworth into international shores. Then there's the troubling story of Dungowan Dam. Built for water storage and renewable energy potential, with its promise of 500 megawatts of electricity generation, it could have become a blueprint for clean energy projects. Instead, we face an unsettling truth. The infrastructure was used as a bargaining chip, more useful as financial leverage than as a tool for sustainable development. And if you thought corruption ended with faulty projects or mishandling public funds, think again. Allegations of racketeering, insider trading, and even drug trafficking have surfaced, implicating public officials themselves. Ordinary-looking bank accounts, many belonging to sitting ministers, are reportedly being flagged domestically and internationally for suspicious transactions, with links to money laundering schemes spanning nations as distant as Saudi Arabia, the Philippines, and the USA. Who would think that a bucolic Australian town could hold ties to international financial crimes? How far do you think this rot goes? Because it certainly doesn't end at political corruption or financial crimes. Imagine regional councils and police forces whose official roles involve protecting lives and securing justice, but who have allegedly been found colluding to traffic drugs, stage terrorizing events, and perpetuate violence. Residents, employees, and even new business prospects were subject to these crimes, turning what could have been thriving opportunities into stories of defamation, extortion, and sometimes even worse consequences. And here's the gut punch. This isn't just about Tamworth. It casts a blinding spotlight on a nationwide epidemic. The levels of governmental misconduct and misuse of public trust serve as a distressing paradox. Those sworn to serve are causing the most harm. Law enforcement, more like law defiance. Members of the judiciary, enablers of oppression rather than protectors of rights. What's more, there's no adequate shelter for whistleblowers, brave souls risking everything to speak out against injustices often find themselves harassed, defamed, and pushed out of public life. For every success story of truth prevailing, dozens fall to the sidelines, silenced and forgotten. So why should you care? Why should Tamworth and cases like it even matter in the grand scheme of things? Because it serves as a grim mirror, reflecting a broader rot in governance, law enforcement, and public service across Australia and possibly beyond. If this level of corruption can operate in plain sight in regional Australia, then where else could it be festering unchecked? For an ordinary citizen looking in from the outside, it may feel disheartening, even powerless. After all, what can one individual do against a web of crimes so wide, so deeply entrenched, and so systematically ignored by those in charge? But herein lies the flicker of hope. Awareness is powerful. The more we know, the less we can accept. The more we question, the harder it becomes for misconduct to thrive in the shadows. There's only one way forward. The cycle of corruption must break. Public funds need to find their way back to the people. Officials at all levels must be held accountable for their actions, and perhaps, most importantly, institutions must rebuild, not just in terms of operational structure, but in respect and integrity. Easier said than done, right? Sure. But isn't every monumental change driven by small, determined steps? Tamworth, with all its stories of betrayal, crime, and corruption, holds within it the seeds of redemption. And the call for that change starts with you. The citizen, the voter, the voice that refuses to stay silent in the face of injustice. Let Tamworth be not just the example of what's wrong, but the starting point for how it can be made right. The truth is out there. Now it's time to fight for it.